The entertainment industry in Nigeria is among the biggest in Africa, and for decades we've been entertained by the sonorous renditions of various award-winning artists performing different genres of music, from R&B to hip-hop, from gospel to high life, name it. Nigeria is a veritable melting pot of creative talent. We've seen the stars, we've seen the show-stopping performances, but what we don't see, however, are the people behind the scenes, the people who bring it all to light, the people who make it happen. And with me today is one such person. He's a multi-talented, multifaceted, super hyphenated young man. In the industry, he's rated undisputably as one of the top 3 best sound mixing engineers in Nigeria. He's Olaitan Dada. Hi, Olaitan. Welcome to Dabira. Thank you for joining us.
It's my pleasure, really.
Thank you. In the industry, you're known as a sound engineer. You're famous for that.
Yeah.
So how did you start? How did this career in sound engineering start?
It started way back in school in Olabisi Onabanjo University, really, formerly OSU.
Okay.
I used to live just behind campus. I had a computer in my room, and I was just introduced by a friend of mine to a software called Fruity Loops, and I had this sound system in my room, just a normal deck, and then I had these headphones that had microphones. So I used to play around with production and singing as well, but I realized that I really was deficient in mixing. My sounds just didn't come out right, and it was trying to get it right that drove me more into mixing than production. And I was so glad when Cobhams gave me the outfit to, you know, study hard on mixing.
Wow. Mentioning Cobhams, you've worked with a number of wonderful people.
Yeah.
I believe Cobhams Masoko was one of them.
Oh, yes.
So how exactly did you end up working with him?
Wow. Okay, that's a whole story, whole totally different story on its own. I remember I was working in a studio called Media Solutions when I finished school.
Okay.
And I was going to work one day when on the radio I heard Asha's song Bibanke for the first time on Cool FM, and I was blown away. And I just realized then that right in the studio I had become a local champion, but there was more to achieve, and I knew that if I kept being where I was just going to go down the drain. So I gave Cobhams a call, and I told him I would love to just come sit down and watch him work every day for about a year, just to, you know, get accustomed to what it takes to make good music. And he was so delighted when I told him that, because he actually was looking for a sound engineer as well, and it was a great cohabilitation, I could say.
Fantastic.
We had a great run.
Fantastic. Well, now we know that you're a sound engineer, but to the layman, what does a sound engineer do, really? What does it entail?
Okay, so music production, the whole process is broken into 3 parts. There's the production, sequencing, and recording. Then there's the mixing, and then there's the mastering. Now, the process of the production is where the producer actually sits down and quote unquote cooks a beat, you know, making instruments work together. They record the vocals on top of it, you know, all the background vocals and everything that they need, the tools that they need for the song to be done. Then the mixing engineer comes in and sits down and blends everything together. The effects, the pannings on which speaker one sound should come out of, you know, how wide he wants it, how deep he wants the bass. It's art and science at the same time at work. So it's quite tedious. It's quite boring for a lot of people, but for the mixing engineer, it's his life.
It's fantastic.
He knows where he's going to, and he has to bring the song to that end point to take it to a totally different level. It almost sounds like an enhanced version of what was created by the producer in the first place.
Wow,
yes.
That's fantastic. So you do so much work, and people don't really know. All we hear is the finished product, and we're giving accolades to the singer. We've mixed a lot of, we've done a lot of projects mixing. You've worked with various people. You've mixed for Olumide Iyun.
Yes.
Mixed for Timi Dakolo.
Yes.
Amaumi. How is it like working with these people?
Well, in the beginning, I was really starstruck. I mean, I'm just coming from school straight into the field, and I'm getting to see all these faces that are popular. I think by the time I started working with Cobams, I got to work with Timi and Omaomi fresh out of the West African Idols, and to me it was like, wow, these people I see on TV and they're right here in front of me, and it was very intimidating at first, but they are quite easygoing people, very friendly, and we became friends. It made working became easier, and they could understand my language, I could understand theirs, and with time it was just fun all the way. I got over my fear of meeting celebs.
Okay, that's fantastic. Yeah. And apart from mixing, I know also that you've done some producing work, some production work. You've produced a number of artists as well.
Yes,
Weird MC,
yes,
Corey,
yes,
Dubi.
Yes,
how does that happen? How do you go from mixing to production? Well,
like I said, I used to be in production before I came into mixing. Mixing was just it was supposed to be me fixing my weak link. It was what I wasn't good at that I wanted to correct, and I became so good at it that everybody else just, you know, mixing actually is one of the fundamental problems with music in Nigeria. And so once people just know that there is one person or there are a few people that can solve it, they just go all out. So I got bombarded with so much mixing work that I didn't have time for production. I still am bombarded with a lot of mixing work.
You mentioned that we had a problem in Nigeria about our sound mixing. You know, could you put more light on that? Because, you know, we'd like to let people know out there what it is, that the difference that you're bringing, because we know we're loud people.
Yes, actually.
Our videos, you know, everything that we do is, you know, it's loud.
Yes, it is actually.
So what difference does your mixing make to this?
Well, in Nigeria, really, a lot of the music on air is so loud that it's distorting. That's a term in mixing. When the song is distorted, it gives you this noisy, the song is supposed to be sweet, but imagine turning your knob on a transistor radio to the loudest. All you hear is a lot of pain in your ear, even though the song is up. That's what Nigerian sound is now. You know, and a lot of people, you know, they just think they know how to mix without really going to study the rudimentaries, and you know, just come out with, okay, let me just move this here, this speaker, let me pour this effects. And mixing is cooking soup. You have to use the right ingredients and pour it in at the right time, the right amount to bring out, you know, and then heat, you know, how long it will boil for, all that needs the whole, you know, process. And
it's a science, actually.
It's exactly, yet an art.
An art.
Exactly.
Fantastic.
So when, you know, bringing all that together, it makes the food come out, you know,
nicer.
Nice.
Perfect.
Well, if you say so.
Yeah, I do say so, because I've had the opportunity of listening to some of your work, and I'm very, very impressed. Well, I say so. At the beginning, I said you were a super hyphenated young man. What I mean by that is that you are not only a sound engineer, you're not only a production person, you're also a voiceover artist. I'm sure a lot of people don't know that. And you're also a performer.
Yes, I am.
Could you tell us some of the things that you've done as a voiceover artist, some of those commercials that we've had the privilege of hearing and not knowing whose voice it was behind it?
Okay, I'll start with one of the ones that became really popular in Nigeria. I was the voice behind Maltina's jingle. Maltina is the malt that keeps you satisfied.
Wow.
You know, and I also had the privilege of being on the MTN is 10 jingle. You have been there through our existence. Now you are everywhere we go.
Okay.
You know,
and then there's Tom Tom.
Oh yeah, there's Tom Tom.
Really love that ad.
Oh, I bought the Tom Tom, and there's Top T. I love my Top T. They call me the chameleon, really, because I can blend my voice into local, international material and just try and create.
It's a real blessing to have your talent. Thank you so much. It's been wonderful having you with us on Dabira.
Thank you.
Thank you, Olaitan.